This week in game news, Atlus will be publishing Kickstarter hit ARPG Cryamore, Tatsumi Kimishima is the new president of Nintendo, the 2015 Tokyo Game Show brought much news about the PS4 and some upcoming JRPGs, Jonathan Blow's long-awaited The Witness finally has a release date of January 26, 2016 for the PlayStation 4 and PC, Konami is ceasing all AAA game development on everything that's not Pro Evolution Soccer, and we have some really crazy indie game news and releases this week, and the GBA RPG Car Battler Joe was released on the Wii U eShop. This is the Blackman and Robin Game News Updates. To begin with, the 2015 Tokyo Game Show opened this week. It's a lot like E3 in that it's a trade show, but like Gamescom, the show is open to the general public during its last 2 days. There are games on the floor as well as hardware on display. One of the most exciting things to happen at the show was that Sony Computer Entertainment of Japan, or SKIJA, held a press conference in which they showed off a ton of awesome stuff. Some of the highlights include the news that Project Morpheus is now called PlayStation VR, which is a notably less cool name, but gets across the idea well enough that it's the PlayStation's virtual reality system. They also announced 4 new colors for the PlayStation Vita, yawn, new colors for the PlayStation 4 controllers, and even more colors for the PlayStation 4, which is pretty cool. There's no word on a Western release for these color variants, but there's a chance that they will come overseas. There was a lot of game news at the SKIJA conference. It was announced that Gravity Rush Remastered, called Gravity Days over in Japan, is coming to the PlayStation 4. It's a remaster of the critically acclaimed PlayStation Vita game. Gravity Rush, in case you've not heard of it, is an action game in which, you guessed it, you control gravity in order to fly through the air and, of course, fight bad guys. Additionally, the second game, Gravity Rush 2, is currently in development for the PlayStation 4. There's no word on Gravity Rush 2 coming to the PlayStation Vita. Gravity Rush Remastered is set to be released on the PS4 on February 10th, 2016. During this conference, Capcom unveiled the Resident Evil spin-off called Umbrella Corps. It's a digital-only title set to be released early next year on the PlayStation 4 and PC. Unlike the other games in the Biohazard series, as Resident Evil is called in Japan, it leans further away from horror and more into action. Think Dead Space. There's no word on if this third-person action game will be coming to other platforms. Capcom had more to unveil during the conference as they revealed another character for Street Fighter V, Karen. Now, Karen hasn't been in the series since Street Fighter Alpha 3 on the Dreamcast, and apparently she's a fan favorite. Capcom unveiled a new trailer for her, which you can see in its entirety at blackmanandrobin.com. Personally, I'm not familiar with Karen, although her fighting style looks pretty interesting. Additionally, Capcom took this opportunity to reveal the brand new Kanzuki Estate stage, a whole other level in the game, just for Karen. Street Fighter V is set to be released on the PlayStation 4 and PC spring of 2016. A whole lot of JRPG news came out of the SKIJA conference. To start with, Star Ocean 5 now has a release date of February 25th, 2016 in Japan for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. While the game is coming to the West, it's only coming to the PlayStation 4 in the United States and Europe, and there's no word on when exactly it'll come out, just 2016. That said, it'll most likely be released sometime after February once everything's localized.
あんな呪印を私は知らない。そもそも呪印なのかどうかすら。
こんなことが許されるか。やるしかない。サイクロンブレード。
ディープフリーズ。きっと後悔してない。
自分を信じられなくなったら、僕を信じて。
That's not all the Star Ocean news, however. Star Ocean Second Evolution, an enhanced port of Star Ocean The Second Story, which was released on the PSP in 2008, is coming to the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita. Star Ocean Second Evolution tells the story of Star Ocean The Second Story. It manages to expand upon the story of the original game, however, by adding animated cutscenes, new parts to the story, improved graphics, and other things. In other JRPG news, the next Kingdom Hearts game has a truly ridiculous name. Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. Have game titles gone too far? Yes, they officially have. Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue isn't a single Kingdom Hearts game, but a compilation. It combines Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, which is already an HD remaster of Kingdom Hearts 3D, Dream Drop Distance, Kingdom Hearts 0.2, Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage, and yes, that's the title of the playable episode of the RPG set between Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts 3 from Aqua's perspective. And then there's Kingdom Hearts Chi, which has the least ridiculous name out of all these, and it's just a movie that tells the story of the Foretellers. It's meant to be a tie-in to the upcoming mobile game. In case this all sounds like gibberish to you, what you should know about the Kingdom Hearts series is that it's a JRPG series from Square Enix that combines elements of the Final Fantasy games with pieces of the Disney universe. There have been 2 main games in the series, both of which have been very critically acclaimed, along with numerous spin-offs of varying quality. The 3rd game has been in development for a very long time and is very hotly anticipated. But wait, there's more! Square Enix announced Ikeni to Yuki no Setsuna, which, when plugged into Google Translate, comes out to the sadness of the sacrifice and the snow. Or something along those lines. It sounds more like a great novel than a retro-style JRPG. The game's being developed by Tokyo RPG Factory, one of Squeenix's development houses, and what's been revealed thus far looks pretty good. The game draws on 90s RPGs, think Chrono Trigger, and as you may have guessed from the title, the game's story is a tragedy of some sort. Ikeni to Yuki no Setsuna is set to be released early 2016 for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita in Japan. There's no word on when it's coming west. I did a bit more digging on this game, and I plugged in some of its information from the official website into Google Translate. The results were kind of shaky, as you might anticipate, but essentially the story is that there are sacrifices every so often to prevent chaos from breaking out into the world. If you can speak Japanese, or at least make better sense out of what the story is supposed to be about, please hit us up at Blackman and Robin on Twitter, or send us an email info@blackmanandrobin with what you know about the game thus far. We'd very happily feature your words on the next episode of Game News Update.
刹那を連れて
Square Enix also released the Dawn 2.0 trailer. Remember the first Dawn trailer we showed you for Final Fantasy XV? Well, that trailer has a sequel. Frankly, I don't know what to think about Final Fantasy XV, seeing as I've not played it, but there's just a glut of material that Square Enix is releasing around it. They want the 15th entry in their long-running JRPG series to be taken seriously. I'm just worried that the game's tone will wind up reeking of teen angst and empty, pretentious speeches and long, intense gazes out into the middle distance and unrealistically young protagonists saving an unfair world. But that's just me. I'm just going off the promotional materials that have recently been released for the game. Previously, the game's protagonists have been depicted as having fun and messing around, so maybe the story will have the necessary balance of drama and lighthearted moments. Final Fantasy XV is set to be released next year for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, as far as we know. There's a pretty big chance of a delay, seeing as the game was supposed to be released a long time ago. Whether it'll be the Duke Nukem Forever of Final Fantasy games or a masterpiece worthy of your time remains to be seen. Square Enix remains cagey about providing a release date. In ARPG news, Odin Sphere Leiftraser is coming to the PS3, PS4, and PlayStation Vita next year. It's a remake of the original Odin Sphere with gorgeous new graphics. There's a lovely trailer here for your viewing pleasure.
Odin Sphere, レイブすら知る。
すぐに出撃する。みんなに伝えよ。やめて。バルキューレは死を恐れない。
またここで会ってもらえるでしょうか。あ、これは私の体が。離れよドラゴン、その人に触れるな。
リブラムよ、力を貸して。
その姿、悪魔にでも魂を差し出した末路か。グエンドリン、ほんのひとときでも君に笑顔が灯るなら。
呪いと死が二人に降りかかる。
先生、
あなたを待っていた。ありがとう、ありがとうブーカ。
お願い、離さないでいて。
オーディンスフィアレイブスラシル。
Over in Nintendo news, a new stage is coming to Super Smash Bros. On 3DS and the Wii U. To celebrate Nintendo's latest big release, we're getting a Super Mario Maker themed stage on September 30th, 2015. It'll set you back a couple of dollars, but if you're a fan of both games, you might want to consider it. Stealth Metroidvania Aeranus was released on Steam this week. Set in the year 2000XXX, it's set in a world under the control of shadowy shapeshifters. You play as Seda Farhi, an assassin who uncovers a conspiracy about the world and is on a mission to take down the bad guys, and, well, you get the idea. The game is relatively short from what I've heard, but it's gotten plenty of good reception for its story and gameplay. It's out right now on Mac and PC. Skyshine's Bedlam was released on Steam this week, and I thought that I covered this game earlier in the year, and I almost skipped it when I realized that I had covered Convoy, which has a very similar setting and aesthetic, but is more like FTL, whereas Skyshine's Bedlam is a lot more like XCOM. Unfortunately, Skyshine's Bedlam has gotten rather mixed reception, which is a pity because it's really quite gorgeous. What you should know about Skyshine's Bedlam is that it's a post-apocalyptic roguelike that's a little bit like Mad Max meets XCOM. Your base is a massive vehicle, or insect if you prefer. It's called a dozer, and it's from your dozer that you set off on a quest through the wasteland. What you go hunting for is up to you. While the game looks very good, most players have decried it as mediocre on account of its combat. It's interesting to see that there's a bit of a divide between the way that players are reviewing the game and the way that critics are reviewing it, in that the critics seem to like it in spite of the combat system. On Steam, however, it's getting a lot of thumbs down from users. If Skyshine's Bedlam sounds like your sort of thing, you might want to look into it, but you'll also want to check out the reviews. The game is currently available on PC. Also released this week was Panoramical. It's available on Mac and PC, and it's described as a video game-like interactive experience in which you play with abstract musical landscapes. It's very surreal, and I'll probably wind up trying it out. Something interesting about it is that it's not really a game that you win or lose. It's more of a gamey instrument with visualizations. If you remember the Visisonar from Asimov's Foundation and Empire, you should know that the game is something like that. Panoramical is available on Steam, as well as on itch.io. This week, Defray Manta was released. It's an arena shooter, not like Quake, but more like Geometry Wars, with very short, very difficult levels. If you're into twin-stick shooters, you'll want to check this one out. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I really dig the neon-colored aesthetic. Defray Manta is currently available on itch.io and on Steam for PC. In older game release news, Starship Titanic hit GOG.com this week. Originally released in 1998, this point-and-click adventure game was written by the one and only Douglas Adams, author of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. While it's not quite as humorous as his other works, it's worth checking out if you're a fan. Set to be released quite soon is the hotly anticipated LEGO Dimensions. The game will be released on September 27, 2015 for the PS3, PS4, Wii U, Xbox 360, and Xbox One from Traveler's Tales. It's like your average LEGO game, albeit with Skylanders. No, there are no actual Skylanders in the game yet, but it employs the same sort of technology. You purchase toys with chips, sit them atop a device plugged into your game console, and the toys become characters in the game. It's good and simple and extremely profitable, but don't let the game's business model put you off, however, as it looks very promising. If you've enjoyed a movie in the last 75 years, there's something in LEGO Dimensions for you. It combines the worlds of many movies, from The Wizard of Oz to The Lord of the Rings to Back to the Future to, of course, the LEGO Movie. This is one that I'll be keeping an eye on. Here's hoping it turns out well. Seeing as it's coming from Traveler's Tales, the company that's done a bunch of other fantastic LEGO games, I'm pretty sure it will.
You're gonna need a bigger imagination.
Do you by any chance have fond memories of a Sinclair ZX Spectrum? You might remember it. It was a home PC that was a big hit back in the day. Well, it's made a comeback of sorts in the form of the ZX Spectrum Vega, which is essentially a plug-and-play console with 1,000 games built in. You can also pop in an SD card if you'd like to play something that you have that's not already on the system. You can get your hands on it from funstockretro.co.uk. In other hardware news, Amazon has announced the Amazon Fire TV Gaming Edition. It's essentially their Fire TV set-top box, but meant for gaming as it ships with a controller. The system comes with a 32GB microSD card for the sake of storage, as well as a couple games, namely Shovel Knight and Disney's DuckTales Remaster. This is rather interesting timing on Amazon's part, seeing as Apple last week had a rather big focus on gaming with the upcoming Apple TV, a very similar device with similar functions that doesn't come with an awesome controller as Amazon's system does. As for how good the system will actually be for gaming remains to be seen. Nonetheless, seeing as most of the games that are currently available on the Android marketplace are available on Amazon, it will have a pretty big berth of available games. Finally this week, we leave you with the trailer for Rocket League's next DLC pack, Revenge of the Battle Cars, which adds some crazy new cosmetics and a couple of cars from the game's predecessor, Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket-Powered Battle Cars. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Game News Update. Be sure to follow at Blackman and Robin on both Twitter and Instagram for all the latest game news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Be sure to follow me at Jordan_Cameron for my own views.
And now we come to the this style movement of the Dutch school in the early 20th century.
En we vinden het gewoon leuk om in het Nederlands te praten.
Think art history is boring? Think again! All you need is a bit more colors, a bit more screen shake, a bit more power-ups, a bit more challenge, a bit more unlockables. But seriously, kids, pay attention when your teacher is talking. It's Lantana Games' wackiest, action-packiest, arguably tackiest game yet. It's art history to the extreme, and it's part of a nutritious breakfast. Mondrian, Abstraction and Beauty, coming to Steam. I know we shouldn't be playing on a Game Boy, but that's just...
Do I have your attention?
Hello, everybody.
I can't do this.
No, no, I can't.
I can't do it.
No, he can. No, she can. No one can. There is no way.
I can do this thing. I can't do this.
I can do that.
No, no, I can't. I can be someone else.
Even the sun goes around the earth.
I can do anything.
I can't fight. I can't fly. I can't do anything.
Impossible. No way I can do. I can't be rich. Can be a hero.
Even great,
Even wise don't know why. I can't do this.